While early LED-backed LCD designs couldn't hold a candle to OLED with respect to picture quality, advancements in technology have more than helped to bridge that gap. And new mini LED tech from the likes of TCL in their 6 and 8 series may represent that final nail in OLED's coffin. At least that's what I wanted to find out. So settle in, hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already, because today we are reviewing TCL's 6 series mini LED QLED 4K smart TV. Let's get into it. You may have noticed that we are in a brand new space, and that is because we have been quietly trying to bring you this space for months, but due to circumstances stemming from the global health crisis, we've had to adjust our plans just a little bit. But we have been on the hunt for furniture and decor for this room for months. We've looked at just about every furniture website on the internet, and that's how we found Article. Their well-curated furniture pieces, not to mention home decor, fit everything that we were looking to do in this new set to a T. And when they agreed to help us out by sending us a couple of pieces, we couldn't have been happier. We ended up choosing their Nirvana lounge chair and Nirvana sofa, both in Dakota tan, for our new film set, where we will be focusing on TVs, small space audio solutions, as well as smart home tech. These two pieces are perfect for a small space such as this. I absolutely love the lounge chair and sofa. The leather is soft, has a lived-in look that looks and feels high-end. Speaking of feels, the down cushioning is just, oh my God, it's so comfortable. In truth, these two pieces have exceeded all of my wildest expectations, and the fact that they were able to ship quickly with contactless delivery, keeping everyone safe, was just awesome. So please help us in saying thank you to Article for their support by visiting their website via the links below. And one final quick thanks from myself and Christy to Article for, sponsoring this episode. The 6 series from TCL is not the brand's flagship. Now, that designation falls to their 8 series. The 6 series is TCL's entry point into mini LED QLED territory. Now, the 6 series comes in 3 sizes, 55, 65, and 75-inch models. We're reviewing the 55-inch here today. But all of the performance specs and figures should be the same across all 3 models, save for one key element, and that is number of backlighting zones. The 55-inch has a reported 128 backlighting zones, whereas the 65 and 75-inch have 240. The 6 series is a true 4K display that uses QLED technology in conjunction with its mini LED backlighting scheme. Now, there are 4 HDMI inputs, one of which has support for ARC as well as eARC, though none of them are HDMI 2.1. Still, it has support for HDR Pro, Dolby Vision, as well as Dolby Atmos, and there are a number of features that you gamers are bound to like, including variable refresh rate as well as a THX certified game mode. You can enjoy games up to 120 Hz in 1440p through all of its HDMI inputs, and it is Alexa and Google Assistant ready, and it's all wrapped up and controlled very nicely in a Roku interface. For an entry-level display, I simply was not expecting this level of design or build quality. The 6 series near bezel-less design gives it a decidedly OLED-like appearance. Now, granted, it's not as thin as OLED when viewed in profile, though I have to admit the back panel is more than a little reminiscent of Sony's Master Series OLEDs. Now, setting up the 6 series is easy because of its Roku interface. So if you are a fan of Roku, you will no doubt feel at home with the 6 series straight away. If you are not a fan of Roku, it's still easy enough to set up, and there are workarounds to Roku, which we will discuss a little bit later. Out of the box, the 6 series ships in an eco-friendly picture mode, and if you're going for accuracy, this mode isn't it. However, it is able to be enjoyed. In fact, Christy liked it very much, and honestly, I can't disagree with her. It does look more or less right. But if accuracy is what you're going for, the eco mode isn't it. Now, normally I would tell you to switch it into cinema mode and be on your way. However, with the 6 series, the cinema mode is worse than the eco mode. So the mode you're going to want to start with for accuracy's sake, is normal. Now, in its normal mode, out of the box, there is a blue bias in the grayscale, as well as a red bias in the colors. The colors on a whole are just way oversaturated. But it's very easy to rein this television in. First, you're going to want to change the color temperature to warm. This all but fixes the grayscale's blue bias and brings it far more within reason or close to calibrated. And beyond doing that, I only had to make some minor adjustments to the 6 Series in terms of its color and tint in order to basically, well, calibrate this display. Now, your mileage may vary, but on my set, I had to lower the color to 40 while raising the tint to +2. When I did this, the TV was more or less calibrated or within the margin of error, and I was able to check this using SpectraCal software and the C6 meter. And of course, you can perform a more exacting calibration of the 6 Series by going into the Roku app and accessing its CMS controls, but I really didn't feel that this was necessary, as I was quite pleased with the results that I got doing just the minor tweaks. Now, you are going to want to turn off any and all motion or action smoothing effects in order to avoid that soap opera effect, but you also need to be aware that you're going to have to disable all of these profiles again when watching HDR or Dolby Vision content for the first time. Now, with respect to brightness, I measured a maximum brightness of around 700 nits, though your full screen brightness is probably going to vary depending on your backlighting settings. So realistically, owners of the 6 Series should expect a total brightness of somewhere between 400 and 650 nits, again, depending on the content with which you choose to view. Now, in terms of black levels, I measured 0.0035 nits, so not absolute black or true black, as is the case with OLED, but we have to admit 0.0035 is dangerously close. Now, panel uniformity on the 6 Series was excellent, as this TV only exhibited minor vignetting around the corners. When viewing real-world content, panel uniformity on the 6 Series is exceptional, arguably better than our reference LG 8K display and coming very close to the standards set by OLED. Now, the mini LEDs are responsive, and there are enough backlighting zones here to keep things like blooming at bay if they're noticeable at all. Motion is also buttery smooth, even with all motion interpolation disabled. Now, for you gamers out there, the gaming picture profile results in very smooth action, and fast action games like fighting games like Street Fighter or first-person shooters were exceptional on this TV. Now, I am by no means a competitive gamer, but I also found that input lag was a non-issue. Now, when it comes to viewing cinematic or broadcast content, the 6 Series is impressive. Colors are punchy and vibrant even after some adjustments, and they just leap off the screen. Contrast is equally impressive, though it is heavily aided by your choice of local contrast setting. Now, in terms of black levels, you are going to have slightly better black levels with OLED, especially in direct comparison, but the difference is not what I would call night and day. Detail, texture, and edge fidelity are also just fantastic. So as a result of all of these attributes, the image quality of the 6 Series borders on three-dimensional. Now, a quick note about detail. Out of the box, the TCL has the sharpness set way too high. Lowering this value to around 10 or less will give you a far more natural-looking image, one that isn't prone to negative edge artifacts. Now, while there are brighter displays on the market near or around the 6 Series price point, the 6 Series is plenty bright to enjoy HDR and Dolby Vision content in most environments, and that includes brightly lit rooms such as this. In terms of drawbacks, there really aren't a lot to talk about here. In terms of image quality, specifically viewing angle, the 6 Series is good, but not what I would call class leading. Everyone seated on, say, a 3-seater sofa is all going to enjoy the same experience, but if you venture much beyond that, things like color, light uniformity, they start to get a little bit weird. And the same is true if you move about on the vertical axis as well. So this is a TV that you're going to want to make doubly sure to install correctly for best results. If you want to get the most out of the next-gen gaming consoles, either from the likes of Sony or Microsoft, you're not going to be able to do that here. Not to say that they won't work with these 6 Series, they absolutely will. You just won't be able to use these gaming consoles to their fullest potential, which for some of you diehard gamers, this may or may not be a deal breaker for you. Now, I am personally not the fan of Roku that I once was. I find the interface to be clunky and painfully slow. While I appreciate its native support for apps such as Disney Plus and Apple TV, I just prefer Google or Android as an OS. Thankfully, you can connect third-party devices like NVIDIA's Shield to the 6 series as a workaround. While you can fully calibrate the 6 series via the Roku app, I found the app itself to be rather unreliable. Accessing the CMS controls through the app resulted in numerous crashes of the app itself. And once a stable connection was able to be made, I found that adjusting the CMS via the app didn't always result in meaningful or measurable changes to the color, at least not the way that you might expect if you're used to calibrating other displays. Still, it does technically work, it's just not the best system that I have used. The 6 series internal speakers aren't that great. In a pinch, they will work, but on a whole, I found the sound to be a bit echoey. So you're probably going to want to invest in a competent soundbar in order to increase your enjoyment of this particular TV. And you could easily pair it with a soundbar from the likes of TCL or a third party. We paired ours with the Samsung S60T, which I found to work great with this television, especially in a small space such as this. In terms of comparable displays, obviously there is Hisense's H9G. Now we're in the middle of our 9G review, so I don't want to spoil anything, but I will share this much. The Hisense does appear to be just a little bit brighter and have a slightly better viewing angle in direct comparison to the TCL. That said, the 6 series does seem to have just a little bit tighter control over its backlighting in comparison to the H9G. Other notable contenders include Samsung's Q60 and Q70T series or LG's 90 series NanoCell. Now, I have not reviewed Samsung's TVs yet, but as it relates to the LG, I just find that their colors are just a little bit more natural out of the box. The 6 series colors are just punchy and contrasty, whereas LG's come across a little bit more cinematic or organic. Now, obviously, you can make the colors look however you want, but if you are the type of person that is going for the reference ideal or reference standard, I just think that you're probably going to get a little bit closer to that ideal with the LG. That being said, the TCL 6 series backlighting control is superior to the LG's in every way. The 6 series even manages to be competitive to Sony's X900 series of displays. Now, the Sony's processing, much like the LG's, is better. Their OS is snappier. But when viewing real-world content, this isn't going to be as noticeable in direct comparison to the TCL. All that said, the Sony is more accurate out of the box, has a few more features, and can be had in sizes larger than 75 inches, which for a true cinematic experience in your home is kind of a big deal. And as for OLED, the 6 series can be compared to LG's BX or maybe even CX series of OLED displays. Now, the LG's OLEDs have way better processing and way better support for gamers. But with everyday viewing of content, the 6 series more than holds its own. And the 6 series can even be compared to the likes of Sony's entry-level OLEDs, but that should come as no surprise, seeing as how Sony's OLED panels are sourced from LG. In the end, TCL's 6 series Mini LED QLED 4K Smart TV is an absolute revelation. At its price point, it's just stupid good. While I may not be the biggest fan of Roku, its menu systems, or interface, in terms of picture quality, there's a lot to like here. What's even more astonishing is that Mini LED is in its infancy, and yet TCL appears to have gotten it right. The 6 series has better and tighter control over its backlighting scheme than even our costlier LG. So when you inevitably ask me, Andrew, what is the best value display on the market right now? I think the TCL 6 series might be it. So that's it. That is my review of TCL's 6 series Mini LED QLED 4K Smart TV. What did you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. And while you're down there, my question for you is this. Do you think Mini LED or Micro LED will be the backlighting technology of choice for displays going forward? Let me know down in the comments below. And before I sign off, please allow me to thank each and every one of you personally, because this week we hit over 100,000 subscribers, and that simply would not have been possible if it wasn't for all of you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And we are in the middle of trying to finalize and organize a sort of celebratory 100,000 subscriber giveaway video. So you're going to want to make sure that along with subscribing, you ring the bell and turn on notifications, because Christy and I would hate for you to miss that. But again, thank you. We plan on celebrating this properly. It's just awesome. And that's it. It's just freaking awesome. And I can't believe it. If you use any of the links that Christy leaves for you down below, know that that is another way that you guys have been awesome in showing your support for this channel and the work that we do here. And we both, once again, we thank you very much. You can follow me on Instagram at Recovering Audiophile, and that's it. So remember, the only person that has to like the sight and sound of your system is you. So huge thanks once again to Article for sponsoring this episode. Bigger thanks to you guys for watching and subscribing and helping us to reach 100,000 subs. And, well, we'll see you on the next video. Bye. Action smoothing, action clarity, LED motion clarity. Action smoothing, action clarity, LED motion smoothing.
No, clarity.
Clarity. Smoothing, clarity, clarity. Smoothing, clarity, clarity. Turn off all action smoothing, action clarity, and you're going to want to turn off all the bull. I'm talking action clarity, action smoothing, LED motion, action whatever. Action smoothing, action clarity. Who names these things? It's like they know that poor schmucks like me have to say this stuff on camera, and they're like, call them the same thing. Trust me. Trust me. A 40-year-old in Austin's going to lose his mind. But why would we call it motion smoothing and action smooth? Just trust me. Just do it. It's going to be great. What do? Not a damn thing. They ruin everything. They have an on... filmmaker mode. What I wouldn't give for filmmaker mode. Okay.
Hold on.
Action smoothing, action clarity, LED motion.